and gentlemen, to the Natural Born Hunter podcast. I'm your host, Will Bradley, and again tonight we have our special guest host, Tim Endsley. And tonight, Tim and I have on the show the digital content manager for GoHunt.com, Brady Miller. Brady, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's good to be on. Trying to get used to this video side of it. Never done a video podcast before, so
Yeah,
old dog learning new tricks. Yeah, I got me a good beer with you guys.
Yeah, well, you're just looking all backcountry sexy there. So on video.
I should have shaved recently. Then why did I do that? Gosh.
You just shave like me. I just shave the top.
Hey, there you go. Makes it easy.
That's weird because I just shaved the bottom.
We really didn't need to know that.
We just became closer.
We're all really good friends now. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. So, Brady, GoHunt.com is kind of how would you describe it? I would tell people it's kind of like a one-stop website for anything Western hunting. Does it do Eastern too, or is it mostly Western?
Nope, all Western hunting. Yeah, we basically cover, I think it's 9 Western states right now, everything except for Washington and California. And yeah, like you said, one stop, like research shop, like area for everything from, draw odds, tag allocations, harvest success rates, what's a unit look like from the terrain, access, vegetation, even break it down into over-counter stuff or talk about what weapons you want to do. Let's say you want to go, Colorado, you want to hunt mule deer, you want to hunt archery. Boom, it'll narrow down all the units in Colorado, produce that search criteria, and then say, well, I want a 180 or better buck. Now it's going to eliminate all the units that don't produce a 180 or better buck. So basically it takes, whatever it is, going to be like 250 units in a state, quickly narrows it down, kind of like a choose your own ending type book. You could just choose your own data you want to see to meet the criteria that you would want to draw, and they can filter in the draw odds on top of that and just dive down and help get you in the research mode a lot faster and help you draw more tags and show you, hey, there's more opportunity in the West than a lot of people think there is. And, they're like, oh, after 8 years, I'm going to draw an elk tag. It's like, well, you can hunt elk every single year in really good areas, or give you confidence to venture out in your own, out of your own home state. And it's a lot of data.
One thing real quick, I paused it because your microphone rubs on your collar.
No.
You may want to go T-shirt.
Oh boy, taking off.
Yeah, that's just my clever ploy to get you undressed.
Change of scenery. Done.
I got Tim down to his boxer shorts last episode.
Yeah, I was down. I was almost naked.
Noisy guy.
Conversation gets hot and heated. You got to do what you got to do.
True.
That's exactly right.
So it's almost like a master computer, if you will, for finding the right hunt for you to find success in the West.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, I went tooling around on the site, and there is a ton more than just the draw odds and finding a hunt. Can you tell some of the listeners what else GoHunt has to offer as far as website?
Yes, we have a lot of people will probably see a lot of our free content all the time, basically like a skills type article. We have a bunch of hunt stories. And then all the insider stuff, that's our paid subscription portion, which that's all the research side. So we have, articles that are exclusive to insider members. So those are like, okay, here's Arizona elk. Here's everything you need to know about hunting in Arizona or trying to draw an Arizona elk tag from, like I said, tag allocations, what's new for 2017, herd die-off conditions, if there's stuff like that going on, and then breaking down, okay, let's say you're a guy who has 5 points for elk. You want to try to burn your points. You maybe want to save them, look for those hidden gem type units. You want to burn them this year. And we kind of show people in the app strategy articles, and then also just other in-depth insider type stuff. But then you get away from that, away from the editorial side, and then it comes in, like the big computer data crunch mode where we have our big thing we talk about is our filtering 2.0, which is where you take that state, take what species you're looking to hunt, take what size class of animal, what weapon, over the counter, is it a limited entry, second, third season rifle, narrowed down from 200 units to 50 units down to maybe 5 or 6. And sometimes you can narrow them down to 1. If you crank up, hey, I want a 190 buck in this state, which 190 bucks definitely large, and it's going to be a unit that's going to take a lot of points to draw. But you can say, hey, show me all the over counter stuff, and instantly you'll be able to look at all the over-counter opportunities for a state like Idaho, which is huge. You can hunt it every single year and learn more about it. And just like I said, giving people more confidence to show you there's opportunities out there to hunt every single year in the West and not, go hunting all the time.
Right, so you take a guy like me, I'm looking for a place to go. Colorado over the counter. Like I did my own DIY Colorado elk hunt once. Did my own research. This is before GoHunt, and ended up picking a place I thought was pretty cool. It was over the counter. I had a really good time. There were a few elk there, but man, I wish I'd have been able to do a lot more research on that area, because it was a tough area to hunt, because there were so many hippie hikers there. I mean, a ton, dude. I mean, it was, and I think so. So basically, if I go through places like GoHunt, then you guys are going to show me, let me narrow down that spot. That's where I'm going to have the best opportunity. For a guy like me that lives in Arkansas and I want to come west, this would be the best way for me to research any states I wanted to hunt out west for any species, right?
Exactly. And then the beauty thing is it too, like you're saying, like if you wanted to go Colorado archery elk over the counter, like a lot of guys, okay, like where do you start then? You have all those over the counter places, and then you can overlay the trophy potential. But then also, I think is even more important to that is like, so we were at a trade show in Oregon recently. Guys are like, oh yeah, like where do you hunt? Like, oh, I just hunt in my backyard. I hunt in Oregon all the time. I can hunt elk every single year. And we're like, well, do you know the opportunity you could have if you jumped across the border to Idaho and looked at like, hey, there's actually more elk in Idaho than in your home state. Maybe you have to drive 5 hours. It's still an over-the-counter tag. You can still hunt a 310, 320-inch bull. Everyone would be stoked to shoot a nice 6-point. But then the harvest success rate's actually better. So you could like sort by harvest success. You can say, I want all the over-the-counter Idaho units, highest harvest success for archery. Boom, it'll show you the top one right there. And then on top of that, what I think is cool is sorting by like bull-cow ratio, so male-female ratio. So you want a higher chance to find a bull that meets that criteria, meets that harvest success. Just going to show you instantly, those areas where you could have go in there and, actually, kill a good animal rather than, struggle and not finding animals because you only had like 6 to 100 bulls. It's like, you can't really do much on 6 bulls to 100 cows. Like you'd rather have that, 25, 30 bulls to a cow to, to figure out where you're going to go and how to, narrow it down, because that, all the over-counter stuff is all great. It's like I mostly hunt all over-counter stuff from Mule Deer all the time. We're like 1-point unit, and it's just trying to like gain the edge over someone else. It's like that's what it's all about. It's like hunting. You're basically hunting. I don't know if it's the right word for it. Hunting people more than you're hunting the animals. Like where are the people going to go? Trying to get away from them. It's
exactly
kind of what you got to do. Like every time you see people in the field, like, oh, there's 8 guys at the trailhead. Like how are you going to navigate and not run into them and still have a good hunt? Well, you got to hunt the people. You got to know where they're going to be at and work the strategies around there. And that's strategy in hunting, obviously, but you can still do this with research too by saying, oh, there's all these people applying in this unit every year. Harvest success rate might be going down a little bit. Look at some units next door that might have similar quality animals, still over counter, and not have as many people, which is like that quote unquote hidden gem stuff I like to try to talk about with people. And
yeah, that's kind of one of the things I do when I do like some of those we do some of the seminars, and people ask me about public land and what am I looking for on public land, and I said a lot of times I'm looking for human footprints. If I get in a spot and it looks really cool, but I'm seeing 2 or 3 different sets of footprints in there, probably going to change spots. So that's that's exactly goes right hand in hand with what you were talking about, hunting people, just trying to get away from the crowds. So that's something a guy like me wouldn't know how to do when I got out. Just like I did with Colorado, I got out there and I had no idea that there were very few hunters there, but I had no idea that was one of the most popular trailheads for people to hike on that particular weekend, right outside. Yeah. And I'm like, how stupid am I? I'm up here just with a bunch of hikers, and the elk have all moved out. So,
yeah, that kind of is the problem with Colorado. That's so like September is the best time, September, October to be out recreating because the weather's usually nicer. There's less tourists, but then it's also like all those local people just go out and go crazy in some of those spots, and I need to come up with a better term for it rather than hunting people.
No, I like it because then you're gonna get some weird calls like, "Hey,
that Brady Miller guy,
like a special section on GoHunt for seeing where we can hunt these people at."
Yeah,
what people are we hunting?
I don't know. You go to the south side of Chicago, you might have a good chance.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so Brady, you and I met each other. I don't know. It's probably been 6 or 7 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we actually ran into each other we met before we actually met face to face, and we actually met at face to face at ATA one year, and we hung out a little bit. And I know not long after that, it was funny because I remember I posted a picture of you on, and just for a little background, Brady puts more into his archery than any guy I know as far as bow hunting.
I definitely like to geek out a little too much. I think it might be like disorder. I'm not sure what it is, but
he's a total archery geek. I mean, dude knows to the ounce what every arrow in his quiver weighs. He knows where every arrow in his quiver flies. I mean, he's got it all written on the vanes. I've never
all your arrows have to be clones of each other. They have to be exactly clones. I don't know what it is. It just makes me feel better when they weigh exactly the same.
Wait, how many arrows do you go through to get that though?
I definitely burn through good like 6-8 arrows. If I have 24 arrows, 6-8 of them are just target arrows. They're no longer hunting arrows anymore. Just because I can't get a match, or maybe I built them a little differently and I have whatever I use, more glue on the insert. Now it's a half a grain difference, which drives me crazy. I can shape things and add things a little bit there, but it's like, well, if I can make them exact, I might as well make them all totally clones. And I feel like maybe it's just in my head, like the confidence thing, like, oh, I'm going to keep that excited. I don't know.
So what I was getting at was, so I posted a picture of Brady one year on Facebook. You remember the picture we got all the controversy over?
Oh yeah, it might have been a yardage mentioned on there, or a sight tape might have been shown, or
yeah, your antelope.
My Montana antelope, yeah.
And I think it was it 90 yards, 95 yards?
Yeah, I shot a doe the day before at 94, and I shot a buck that day at 96.
96, and we posted the picture of the sight tape. And let me tell you, the shitstorm came in a hurry. I mean,
it's like people never look at your backstory. They just see what they want to see right there. And it's like, oh, this guy just goes out there and launches bombs.
Well, the thing was Brady had been chasing, this was a buck,
yep.
And you'd been on this buck for like 4 or 5 days. And This was the closest you had actually gotten.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, it was an awesome area of Montana. That's why I'm now living in Las Vegas. I don't get to go do that anymore, but I have more opportunities. But yeah, this awesome antelope spot. Just, it was public land, and we're grinding every single day. Me and this friend, we just, go out there all the time. We had like 4 days on the opener, and yeah, I kept seeing him all the time, and I never could get close. You could always get that 130, 100-yard distance, and we're like, we just got to try to get under 100 yards and let her go, because we practice at 120, 130 all the time. It's like, I try to tell people, you do that all the time, you're going to shoot 50 yards and it's going to be money, like nailed. And yeah, they just tore up that photo.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that another thing that we talk about, and I got this from that actual photo from those days, and mine and your conversation about that was, at that time I'd never shot past 70 or 80 yards. That was the farthest I would shoot at home, and 70 yards was pretty much the top, so I would even shoot at my target range. And so from that point, I started shooting out a lot farther. But one of the things we talked about at our one of the seminars we did was we were, and it stemmed from that Facebook post, was what is an ethical shot? And
yep.
At that point, we came up, it's only logical that if you never shoot your bow past 50 yards, then 50 yards is your ethical shot if you're good enough at 50. I mean, you may not even be good at 50 for that.
You always got to try to extend that, or even try to double it. I try to tell people. So yeah, they're comfortable at 40. You should be shooting at 60 to 80 yards to make your 40 so much dial. Don't just shoot at 40. That's
the thing. That's one of the things we ran into is 40 yards is an ethical shot. 50 yards is an ethical shot. Well, to me at the time, and you and I had that extensive conversation about it, was that if that's the farthest you ever shoot, 50 yards is your max. That's an ethical shot for you. You don't need to shoot past that. Anything past that is unethical because you don't practice it. You've never shot it. I said, these guys shoot this distance and farther on a daily basis, so they're proficient at it. It's no different than shooting a rifle at 1,000 yards at an animal.
Exactly.
He's never shot at 1,000 yards at an animal. He's got no business shooting at 1,000 yards at an animal, right?
It's like Shaq. He practices all his shots at the rim, dunking it. Like you never see Shaq shoot a 3-pointer. Like you'll never see some guy from back east shoot a deer at 80 yards. They just don't do that because they're thickly wooded and all their shots are 20, 30 yards. And it's like that's what they're used to. And you come out west and it's like you have to open it up and like start shooting 3-pointers, like practice all the time, and it's like shoot longer distances makes your inside game that much better. And
I agree, and that's and you would not believe the hate we got over that picture because he posted it and then I shared it on my page, and so I immediately got all the Midwest and Eastern guys were like, the Western guys were all like, "Man, great shot, Brady, that was awesome."
Oh, yeah.
Then we got all the Midwest and Eastern guys were going, "That's stupid," and then you have to go through this explanation.
And the thing that's crazy is, 96 yards, shot a buck. The buck went 20 yards, piled over dead.
Yep.
Like it exited out the opposite shoulder. My arrow somehow broke. I was shooting full metal jackets. So it broke on the opposite shoulder. The broadhead is still lodged in the opposite shoulder. I have it saved in my house right now, just sitting there. And then somehow the arrow still exited out the other shoulder. So even though it hit the shoulder, the opposite side, and broke, it still made an exit because it was hitting so heavy. I was shooting, I think, 520 grain arrows at the time. So that momentum is just like a log hitting an antelope, a little tiny, whatever they are, 130-pound animal, just walks over a little bit and then dies. It's like that's why knowing your bow and knowing your weapon is just like everything in archery and bow hunting. It's just like you just get that confidence and you could go out there and everything has to be right. It's totally has to be looking away from you. If he's anywhere alerted, you're gonna nail him or you're gonna totally miss him at that distance. It's
exactly. One other thing, I don't mean to gather up all the conversation, but there's another story I remember that you and I talked about before, and this is before you went to work at GoHunt, and you and your dad went to Alaska.
Oh yeah, British Columbia.
You went to British Columbia.
Yep.
You went to British Columbia is where it was, and that's where you killed moose and a goat?
Yep, killed a moose and a mountain goat with my bow, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about that story, because I remember that story, and it happened pretty fast for a guy that had never been there before. That was your first trip ever?
First trip out of the country hunting, yeah, just like a total, like what everyone says, like, oh, that outfitter, because you have to use an outfitter in BC to legally hunt there. So we had to book through an outfitter, and then we get up there and like, oh yeah, you'll have a chance maybe to get a moose with a bow. Mountain goat, same thing. It'll struggle, but it's a 15-day hunt. And so me and my dad both had tags. My dad was just bring his rifle up. My dad just was going to go for moose. I was going to go for moose and mountain goat. I actually really wanted mountain goat. I always thought mountain goat's my dream animal. It still is. It's like just the monarch of the mountain, I think. And, they're up in the nasty, craggy peaks. And so we get all the way up there, and when I'm sitting there shooting my bow ahead before we get in there, I'm just launching about like 70 yards at the target. And the guy's like, all right, well, good luck, but be prepared to use your dad's gun to, when it comes down to the wire, to shoot something. And I'm like, all right, I can do that. And then, so we get all the way in there, we horseback in, and the first day we, glassed up a bunch of goats, and we had to go after them, glassed up some moose, ended up stalking down a moose and blew out of stock. And, the first day we were there, and this is like 35 miles in the backcountry. We had like a, 8-hour horseback ride, and it was just super far in. It was just like, picture perfect scenery ever. And then, so we're coming back from that day, and we're riding on horseback. We see these 2 goats above our camp. They're like way up there, like a long ways up above the camp. It's like, hey, we should go after those in the morning. And then sure enough, we woke up in the morning, couldn't find them, hike all the way up there. So this is day 2 of the hunt. I glass up my first goat the day before. So day 2, we get all up on top. We see these goats again after, climbing for whatever it was, 4 hours to get up in the rocks. And the goat's like right down below me, like, 250 yards away. So the first goat I've ever put a stock on, just make it shorter, I killed the goat on the first stock ever, like just totally unheard of, which was like the most amazing thing ever. So it was like it was like roughly 60 some yard shot, like true distance, but I shot it for 31 yards or 32.
Holy crap.
So the angle cut on this thing was just insanely steep. I was shooting off my knees. My limb was almost touching the ground. I have a really big, long back bar stabilizer with 16 ounces of weight, and that was like almost digging in the dirt as well. I'm just like leaning over this cliff, just like looking straight down on this goat, just bedded, not even knowing what's going on. And yeah, so I pegged the goat, and it runs a little bit and stops, and then I end up going down the mountain a little bit again. I get another arrow into him, and this goat just starts tumbling down like this avalanche chute, 900 feet, somersaulting in the air. Just like, oh yeah, everything's toast. I thought I was done. Like, and then my dad comes over, and this is like the coolest part. I think this is probably what part you're talking about. My dad just is like jumping all over me, saying, "Oh my god, you just killed a effing mountain goat with your bow! Like, what are the odds of that? It's the first stock you've ever taken on a goat. You killed it, and what are we gonna do for the 13 more days that we're there?" It's day 2 of the hunt. So yeah, we get the goat, pack them all up or whatever. The horns were actually totally fine. Nothing was wrong except the face and the goat was all demolished. Like you could take the nose of the goat, and the head would be still, but the nose you could move back and forth. It was really
Broken
gross.
nose.
Yeah, and so like my mount's all scarred up and stuff. It just adds character. I thought about getting a different cape for it, but I was like, no, it's just what it is. And just so yeah. Second day of our British Columbia hunt, I shot my goat with my bow. Get back to camp. Next day we're going out. Oh, actually, the day before we ended up seeing some moose when we were going up there. It's like, oh, there's moose hanging around here. That's cool. Next day we wake up in the morning, we walk out a little bit. Hey, let's go halfway up the mountain where we were mountain goat hunting and start glassing for moose and start looking. And like, we literally walked maybe a half mile from camp, and boom, there the moose were, a bull and 2 cows. So I started like going in on them, stalking after them. We did the whole like holding the bow, Jim Shockey style, trying to walk closer to them. Actually worked. I got like 110 yards from the moose. And they were behind me calling and stuff like that. And the moose was running around, like chasing the cows. And finally he kind of spooked off, and we got up on this little ridge and glassing down. Like, Brady, you should go down there right now and spot and stalk that thing, because you love spot and stalk mule deer. Just go after him and try to kill him yourself. We're going to sit up here and watch you go through the whole thing. And they're like, if it takes you all day to kill this bull, because he's like walked off and bedded some timber, like it takes you all day to kill him, whatever. We're just going to sit here and enjoy it. So yeah, I just went on my own for the next 2 hours. They were up above me where they could see me, and I did the whole thing where I could this was like a picture perfect. I could stalk a moose. I was also calling. I didn't know how to call a moose. I was just making the old, noise I hear on TV all the time. I'm just going after them a little bit. The cows end up coming towards me. They come like 15, 20 yards.
Let's hear a little moose call.
Oh man, I don't even know. What do they do? They close their nose and go,
And that was working? That sounds good.
That was working.
That was pretty good.
Sick moose, but sounds like a moose.
Yeah. And it's been a long time. That was 2013 I went on the moose hunt. So my skills are a little washed up. But yeah, so I kept calling at the moose. They would come closer. The cows where the bull was still bedded down. So I had like moose interactions all the time, but I was also stalking in through the timber and navigating it and waiting for the cows to bed. I would get up and move closer. And so finally the bull, after I was like making that noise forever, and I was raking, a little log I found in a tree, trying to get him to stand up and come closer to me. And finally he stood up and walked across this opening, and it was 65 yards away. And just, came to full draw and just like blanked out basically. And somehow the arrow released and went perfectly. I drifted a little bit far behind, but I could see the arrow sticking out the other side of him. Like the broadhead, still at 65 yards, I had the broadhead sticking out the other side because I was shooting, really heavy arrows at the time too. And I'm just like, that's the third day of the hunt right now. And after a little bit of the moose, I ended up having to shoot them a couple more times just because they're just giant animals. But day 3 of the hunt, and I'm done. It's just like unheard of. Like I went the day before, first stalk on a mountain goat. This is the next day. This is my second stalk on a moose. I guess you'd call it third maybe, because I had that stalk earlier in the day when I was trying to hold the bow over my head and just like, I'm done. And we had 13 more days left of our hunt. Just like sometimes I don't know how I get lucky or what happens when I'm hunting, but it's just like all comes together, or it's just like that grind determination. I just like go after something and I'm like, want to kill it.
Yeah, because we've known each other for a long time, and I've never known you to go after something for 4 or 5 days and come back empty-handed. I've just never. I know you have, but
oh yeah, I definitely have.
But it just seems like Brady's just got that persistence, and I always tell everybody, like for a Western man crush, man, Brady's like on the Western man crush, because then you move to Las Vegas and you immediately start hunting in Nevada for mule deer. And your first year there, you were successful, if I remember right, correct?
Yeah, I was like I drew a tag as a non-resident when I moved down here, and it was like That's what I liked about moving. So moving to Nevada was actually, a super awesome thing. Obviously, now I work for a hunting company. Before I worked for, the federal government doing fishery stuff. So I was hiking around a lot. But now, like doing this, I always wanted to hunt, the really high alpine for mule deer and like velvet. Like Montana doesn't have the high alpine. You can't really. They strip their velvet, the first couple days of the season. So I never could hunt a velvet mule deer. I'm like, I just want a velvet mule. I think velvet bucks look so badass. It's just something about a velvet deer. So yeah, moving to Nevada, I could, I scout all these, high country spots. I was hunting over 10,000 feet, and it's just like that's a hunt we filmed. We released it a couple years ago on GoHunt called Elements, and it's still one of our like highest viewed films. Just like that whole backcountry grind. We had 2 pack goats with us, so we had that little interaction of having like these 2 little like dogs with horns. Basically, these pack goats just these pack goats just love you like. There's little tiny goats, and they just want to be with you all the time. They cry when you leave them. They want to be jumping in your tent with you. They want to cuddle with you at all hours of the day. And they're just characters in themselves, So it was like really cool to be with them. And
that's crazy because of all the stuff I've heard of in the backcountry, that's the first pack goat story I've heard. I've heard llamas, horses, mules. I've never heard pack goat, so they
basically carried. We had 3 guys, so we had me and another guy who worked for us, and we had a camera guy. So they carried almost all our mountain house, bunch of all the random camera gear and stuff like that. I think they could carry like 35 pounds each, so it's not a lot. But you think about that, that's 70 pounds you don't have to carry. Like, hell yeah,
that's an extra man right there.
Yeah, and
so let's go into that because I know how. You're really OCD about your pack for the backcountry.
Wait. Tim, you're telling me the guy who goes through dozens of arrows and cares about how much glue goes into each insert is OCD when it comes to his pack?
Yeah, I guess it works out that way. I don't know how that happens.
Brady's infamously, he's just famous for his meticulous tack
attention to detail.
I made fun of a lot too, though. Like, so I'm super into lightweight gear. I love geeking out on, hey, this is a titanium stove, new titanium spork, this is whatever, this new lightweight quilt compared to a sleeping bag. And I cut off all my zippers and all my weird, tags and everything. So my pack's super, super lightweight base weight. But then I throw in
You cut off your zippers.
I cut off the zippers and I'll put like a really small, lightweight, like parachute cord. Get rid of the metal zippers. Like zippers are, they all. It sounds crazy, I guess that.
So these, like the little jingly, taggy things.
Little YKK zippers. Yeah, I get rid of those and change them with P cord.
Really?
If you add up on your pack and you had 20-some zippers, or and you put all P cord on there, you might save, I guess, maybe an ounce. It's not a lot to a lot of people, but. That's why I get made fun of in the office all the time because I always ounce count everything, but then when it comes to my weapon, my bow weighs almost 10 pounds.
Right.
And all my camera gear, I have a DSLR, I have 3 lenses I carry all the time, and all these extra batteries. So like my thought is I'll just cut every weight I can. Like I even like skimp on food a lot of times. I'm only having like maybe 1,500 calories a day in the backcountry. So it's pretty bad, but it's like then I can carry all this cool camera gear, take a bunch of cool photos. And then my weapon, I rather have, and my weapon's what's going to kill. My optics are what's going to help me kill. So I always carry, a spotting scope. I'll have 10 by 42 binos. I'll have a 15 power binos I mount off a tripod. So all that stuff is just helping me kill. And then I'll sacrifice everywhere else. I'll sacrifice in sleeping. I'll kind of be, I guess, not 100% comfortable when I'm sleeping. I have a 30 degree bag, and I don't really have. I have a super lightweight, sleeping pad that when I'm when it's dipping down into the teens at night, I'm kind of miserable. But I always have all this extra clothes too. So it's like, well, why do guys want to carry a heavy sleeping bag that might be a 0 degree bag, a really nice insulated pad, when you could just skimp on a few things and wear your hunting clothes while you're sleeping at night? Because they already bring those clothes back in there anyway. I might as well wear them.
Right.
So yeah, there's my OCD coming out and of just like the packing stuff. But then you talk to my fiance and she's like, well, you're not OCD even at home. Like your man cave is a mess and disaster all the time. You have gear everywhere. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's
interesting. That's interesting. I see how that could happen. How in one area you've contained it all. You focused all the OCD-ness into one thing. So other than zippers, is there any other way people may not have thought of to cut weight from their pack or from, I guess, their gear?
Back in the day before, I haven't done this with my carbon tripod, but I had aluminum tripod, really lightweight aluminum. I would drill holes in my aluminum tripod.
Really?
Just to save weight. But then I started thinking, okay, the wind's kind of coming through here a little bit, and the wind maybe it'll go through that tripod, or maybe it's affecting it because of it was super lightweight, so it was almost too light to glass because you would see the movements at long distance. So I kind of got away from that. But that was what I used to do way back in the days. I mean, they even make fun of me for cutting off the tops of the mountain house. You know, a mountain house bag will have that top you can rip off, and then underneath it has a seal. I get rid of that top before I even go in the field. Cause I'm like, why pack that in the backcountry? You're going to throw that away or try to burn it when you're back there. You have to pack it all the way out. Just get rid of it before you even go hunting.
That makes sense. Makes sense to me. Now you see what my backcountry man crush is, Brady Miller.
Brady's going to be moving on, though, to where it's like, why even bring these bags? I can just put the mountain house in my pockets, and when I get there, I'll just take it out of the pocket, and I'll put it in.
Well, now I don't even use mountain house bags anymore. Now I do my own freeze-dried. I take the mountain house, empty them into my own freeze-dried thing so I can portion them out easier and just cook it right in there. So it's, slowly getting a little bit crazy with the lightweight category. But like I said, I carry a big giant gun.
But there has to be somebody, I always think, no matter what it is, there has to be someone who is willing to become obsessed with the pursuit of excellence beyond what everyone else is doing. Somebody who really wants to sharpen that edge as fine as they can. So guys like us can pick up on like maybe a few of the things you do and be like, oh, you know what? I'll start doing this. This is a good idea. I saw him doing this. I mean, I don't think I'm going to start tearing tops off anything, but I think I'm sure there's a lot of things that the maybe a little less concerned about weight person can pick up on to maybe improve what they're out there carrying around.
Yeah, just even like people who think you need to have a dry bag for everything too. It's like you put all your clothes in a little dry bag. All those dry bags add up to weight in your pack. Your pack is already slightly waterproof as well, and you usually have a rain fly on top of your pack. So really, why do you need those dry bags? I always use my game bags. So the stuff I would pack out, all my deboned mule deer meat when I'm going into a hunt, because they're not stinky yet. I've already cleaned them. Those are my dry bags because I have to have them when I kill. So I throw all my clothes in those, and once I'm hunting, I can still use those game bags to store things or store my food in as like a day, supply of food. Throw my protein bars in there, throw my little protein shake, and on I go throughout the day. So like little weird things like that. Like just, I mean, it sounds crazy to say, okay, I'm cutting an ounce here, I'm cutting another ounce here, but you add up things, 16 items where you cut down an ounce, that's a pound you just saved. And so it's like all those weirdest little things you can think about that you can save weight on and not have to pack them with. It's just less weight on your body and you're more ready to go every single day and you're not tired. And I a lot of different strategies for somebody. It's like, oh, well, you can just have more food and you can have more calories and maybe be more energized as well. So there's that side of it, but then you have to pack all that food in and you have to pack it all back out. So
costs energy to get it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, for all the years I've known you, like, I know you've been super hyper mule deer guy. Like is mule deer still one of your biggest passions? And is that still, do you ever just think, man, I've killed all these great giant mule deer, I want to go off and do something different? Or other than, I know you've done the moose and the goat and you've been on a lot of different hunts, but I mean, I know that every year I see you somewhere just look behind you on the wall there. I mean, I don't know if those are yours or not in the office, but I'm sure they are.
No, yeah, those are Lorenzo's. I don't want to bring out my mouse to the office right now, but definitely that's what I mean. It's addiction. I have mule deer right behind me. I have mule deer over there right now. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm just a mule deer nut. I don't know what it is about them. Like I grew up in the Midwest, so I'm used to hunting whitetails when I was, in high school and stuff like that. And then once I had a chance to move up to college, whatever that was now, 14 years ago or something like that. Crazy now? I don't know.
You went to college?
Montana.
You went to college?
College in Montana.
Bozeman or where'd you?
Missoula.
Missoula. I couldn't remember if it was Bozeman or Missoula. And so your job with the federal, where you worked for the government, mm-hmm. I can remember you telling me back in the day that you were in a helicopter all day flying
Oh yeah,
All
I
these,
flew in a helicopter probably 2-3 times a week for quite a few months. I probably have, I don't know how many hundreds of flight time, like flight days of being in a helicopter, just flying up down streams, looking at tracking fish. We had little radio tags in every fish, and we just track them on radio frequency and mark them every day where they would move to. And so that was pretty badass, being able to fly all these places and see all this cool country all the time, which I wish I would have hunted it more, because I was seeing it from the air all the time. But like right after that's when I left and moved down to Las Vegas. But yeah, being able to fly in a helicopter and see all the scenery, and then we were backpacking all week too. So that's like how I kind of got really psycho into backpacking, and started, because I had all this opportunity to test gear all the time, because we were backpacking, 6, 7, 9 days at a time. Sometimes we only go out for a day and come back to a vehicle and then day hike back and forth. But we're backpacking all the time, so just had a chance to try out new stove, a new sleeping bag, just refine what I liked and what I didn't like, and what I liked for clothes and what I needed for like different temperatures. So just like, all like building into a science of what I need to backpack. I was always doing science at the same time, like doing fisheries work, but I was like, in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I'm training right now for hunting. That's why when I did all that backpacking back in the day, I would wear heavy leather boots. Like they worked great in the rain, great in the logs. We were bushwhacking everywhere. Then once hunting season came, I switched to my Solomons, super lightweight hiking, just like running shoes, and I would fly up the mountains. It's just like those weird little things. I would like torture myself in the summer carrying these boots, and then when I was done, and just doing weird things like that. So like the whole being in the fisheries stuff for a while, like that's, I think, made me who I am today. Just the love of the backcountry, love these crazy adventures. We'd be, hiking in the rain, working in the rain. So now when I'm hunting in all those nasty conditions, I look back on it like, well, I used to do this all the time. It's like nothing different now. And now I'm trying to go after an animal, which is what my passion is. And so it all this works, I think, together. Everything you do in life is all those weird experiences. You just got to take them for whatever they are and throw them into mule deer hunting, which is what I do now. It's like we were talking earlier. It's like what I love to do is mule deer. Like I'm not an elk guy. I could care less if a bull's bugling right next to me. Like you see a 160-inch mule deer, a 300-inch elk that's bugling his brains out. I have tags for both. I'm going to go after that mule deer right now, and then maybe think about the elk. Even though the elk antlers are big, and I understand the lure of going after elk and bugling, but it's just like, I don't know, being able to glass a mule deer, watch him feed, watch him sleep, watch his eyes moving around, just like every day, just like, I guess it's kind of psycho in a way, just stalking an animal all the time, like knowing exactly what he's doing. Where's he sleeping? Where's he eating? Where's he going to the bathroom? It's like you just know everything about him. You feel like you're one with him,
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing with me. Everybody asks me all the time about elk, and listen, I do. Eventually one day I do want to go try to get on a good elk. And I did it, the one hunt that I did by myself, man, I totally enjoyed it. I was there for a week and I had a blast. Now, I will say I was on the phone pretty regular with Willie Schmidt, Trevin Stoltefus, guys that were there. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Where do I need to look? I was constantly looking for some kind of guidance, but it's the elk have just never bothered me. Like my next thing on my agenda is mule deer. Like that's where I want to go. I want to go hunt mule deer. That's my next. And I've been chasing whitetail for all these years, and I love it. I still love to go hunt whitetail. This year, I'm going to team up with Heads Up Decoy and try to do a spot and stalk on a whitetail with the decoy hooked to my bow in Kansas. And
that'd be a rush.
Cool. And but I'm kind of with you on that. It's not that I don't think I ever want to go on an elk hunt. I think I do. I want to go on a good elk hunt, but something about mule deer just always intrigued me, and I don't know why. I just haven't really pulled the trigger to go. I guess because, well, one reason you can hunt mule deer earlier in the season than we can whitetail, and
exactly. Yeah.
Generally I'm trying to get. I've already got so many whitetail hunts that I can't. I'm like, God, I just can't squeeze it in. But I think this year I'm actually gonna try to squeeze in one mule deer hunt, and it'll be public land over the counter, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. So, it probably won't be anything like what's on the wall back there.
Any mule deer's a trophy. That's the thing. Like a lot of guys are like, the symbol of the West is an elk, and it's like they're awesome animals. They bugle. They're really cool. But it's like when I see, mule deer at 10,000 feet in velvet, just in the summer range, up in the top high peaks, it's like they're in some more remote stuff than mountain goats. That's why I used to think mountain goats were were awesome. I still do, but it's like a mule deer, just the way they're wired. It's like, similar to whitetails. When I was hunting whitetails, like they're wired a different way. They're so cagey in their own little sense. They'll allow you to get away with certain things when you're stalking them, but then other times you do one thing wrong, they, are totally gone and out of there. It's just, yeah, they're cool. Those big old forks and the big boxy frame walking around. It's like, you can't beat that.
I think I might just take a crap on myself the first time I saw one out like those big antlers. Just, I know Jason Mazinger, we were talking about doing a hunt a couple years ago, and it didn't work out because he ended up having to go the same time. The only time I could go, he was going to be out of town. He was going to take me to the Missouri Breaks over the counter, where we turkey hunt up there, where we've always gone did the turkey camp. He said, now it's not a trophy unit. Not going to guarantee you're going to see a 190-inch mule deer. And I said, dude, I've never killed a mule deer, so the first forky that comes by me is probably going to get forky. I get a good stalk on. I'm probably shooting, So I want to do that. I want that experience. I think that'd be. I think that's probably my next big experience is going to be mule deer. I just something about them. I watch a lot of mule deer hunting and watch a lot of y'all's stuff, and I watch a lot of films on YouTube and Vimeo of other people's mule deer hunts, and it's something that's slowly intriguing me. And one of the things you said that was interesting there was about some of the similarities and some of the differences. I know I had some guys wanted to come out and whitetail hunt, and they're like, well, we're going to come out and to Arkansas or to Oklahoma or Kansas, and we're gonna put our boots on the ground. We're gonna spot and stalk. We're gonna put boots on the ground, show you guys how to kill them. And I'm like, there's a reason why we hunt them out of tree stands up here, dude.
Exactly.
you can get in the woods with a whitetail in big timber, and chances are good you're never even going to see him. He could be 100 yards from you, and you're not going to see him. We hunt thickets, so being able to hunt something in wide open spaces to me just is totally intriguing.
Yeah, that's kind of think why I fell in love with it too, because you're just like you're making your own success every day. You're glassing animals up, so it's if you don't find any animals there, grab your backpack, hike over the next ridge, glass a new area. You're just seeing lots of country, seeing lots of animals. Then you have a chance to see all these weird predators. I glass up so many. I got not so many, I guess, but I see a lot of mountain lions when I'm out there, like just doing their own thing out in the open. And like I've seen a few wolves when I was in Montana, just like grizzly bears, black bears. Like when I remember just hunting Minnesota all the time, hunting in my tree stand, sitting there. I was reading a book, and it's like I see 3, 4, 5 deer at a time. Like out west, sometimes I see 30, 40 deer a day.
Right.
And I could easily see more if I wanted to keep, bumping ridges and bumping ridges, but you just see so much more animals, and it's like, keeps your confidence level higher, I guess, and keeps you more focused on, keeps that tension up. And
so you guys I know even since the beginning of GoHunt, you guys have always kind of done some film production for GoHunt. And I know in the last couple of years, you guys have gotten even more and more into the film production. What kind of stuff are you guys filming now? I mean, where can people see the films?
Yeah, so right now we're trying to step up our our game on film. Like we always took the approach of more like a documentary style on all of our films, just like having no music playing in the background, just all the natural sounds, and just like letting like the two characters tell a story basically. So if it's like you and a deer is the character, you are as your hunting partner, and the deer is the character. Like the situation we were with the pack goats, they just added that little, cool factor to it, and we just, try to roll things and try to make it different than what we see out there. But I mean that's kind of like this not like struggle right now is we're trying to like figure out what we're gonna do for next year, what we're gonna do different. And so I think now we're going to try to do, still a couple more mule deer films and try to do some elk. We have a really good elk film coming out. We actually, everything you can find right now is all on our YouTube channel. That's our main thing our videos are. We have them on Facebook too, but YouTube's a lot easier. But yeah, we have an elk hunt coming up. That's really good. It's a Utah archery elk hunt. Just phenomenal bugling footage, elk fighting back and forth with each other the whole time, and snow, and just like that grind of it. And then we have a New Zealand film we're coming out with too. Lorenzo was on that, the owner of GoHunt, and just a bunch more mule deer stuff, and trying to branch out and just keep doing the whole Western struggle kind of thing. Like like every hunt needs to be a struggle for a story, but it's like that's kind of how it is when you're like in the West. It's like there's always a weird struggle aspect. I think that's why people really like watching, you know, that Western style hunting, because you never know what the elements are going to be like. Is it going to be raining? Is it going to be snowing? Is the rut going to be non-existent? And you're grinding out a lot of people you're running into because of the over-counter thing. It's just documenting the whole thing is like what we're trying to, you know, all be about.
Right. Yeah. I've got a T-shirt that a guy you guys probably both know, Zach Griffith, sent me a T-shirt back earlier this year, and it says "Bow hunting sucks" on the front of it. And it's kind of a play on words, and I wear it a lot. And I wore it in my film for the Badlands Film Festival. And I had some people from around here and they come up and they're like, "Why are you wearing a Bow hunting sucks T-shirt?" And I'm like, it's kind of a play on words from the guys out west, because every time you go on a bow hunt, it's a struggle. But
it does suck too sometimes.
Sometimes you come out of there going, God, you know, I would have been tagged out if I'd had a rifle tag. But struggle with the bow that I think is the reason why we're all bow hunters, you know, and I know that's why I am, because I know that, you know, rifle hunting, I have nothing against rifle hunting whatsoever. I mean, my whole family, they're all rifle hunters, but the struggle with the bow was what kept me motivated to hunt, because it was more of a challenge for me. So, I think that, you know, trying to explain to people how that Bow Hunting Sucks T-shirt resonates into Western hunting is really where it comes from, you know, from just the struggles that certain Western guys in 10, 12, 13 days, like your British Columbia hunt was kind of unheard of. You know, you tagged out in 3 days on the 2 animals you went out there for on a 13-day hunt.
We struggled the rest of the time to try to find my dad a moose for a rifle. It's like the weather was perfect when we were there, and all of a sudden it's changed. You never know. And I think that's also why bow hunting is so fun. You know, like I'd rather grind out sometimes and take an animal on the last day and experience all those weird things you see and learn more stuff about, like for me, mule deer. So it's like if I tagged out on the first day, I would have how many days of hunting in my career? You know, very few days of hunting. If you kept tagging out all the time, like not saying rifle hunting you always tag out, but it's just like bow hunting, you get to struggle every single day, 4, 5, 6 days in. Like all of a sudden now you take an animal. All those days you learned, take that in the next hunt. It just like makes you such a better hunter, makes you more like you enjoy it, you earn it. It's addicting sport.
Oh, I agree totally. I'm getting more and more geeky about my archery stuff. I'm not to the point that Brady is, but I do get more and more geeky about my stuff. You know, I even catch myself sometimes just going through and weighing my arrows for no reason, even though I've already weighed them like 4 times that week. You know, I'm like, what does this arrow weigh?
The earth might have rotated a different way, and now they weigh a little bit differently. You never know.
Do you ever go back through and reweigh your arrows like later?
Because then I always question my scale. Like I turn my scale on. Is there like something on there that's making it weird and now they're different? I have to re-enter it in my Excel program to spit it all out. And yeah, I don't like doing that.
What's worse is when you've already got it wrote on the vein, and you shoot that arrow a few times. You go in and you weigh it again, and it's like 2 grains lighter, 2 grains heavier. And you're like, how did this happen? You know what? How did this happen? I haven't done anything. It's
not a good thing to have.
You make yourself crazy.
It's just like it tricks you.
So you guys, at GoHunt, are you guys ever going to get into any of the Eastern tag draws like Iowa or Kansas or any of that stuff?
I don't know if we will. I mean, right now we basically want to focus on any state that has mule deer and elk. Those really are, you know, bread and butter, especially elk. You know, everyone wants to know about elk opportunities. So we're really big on showing people the elk states right now. And then there's just so many like other weird tools we can come out and enhancements with. Like that's the great thing about being online. Like we come out with new stuff, you know, on a really consistent basis about new filtering things. Like if you want to filter by herd densities, want to filter by, you know, public-private, want to do a new state. Like we're trying to launch California and Washington, and there's just like so many weird nuances in every state. So I mean, I won't want to say never, but it's like definitely going to be quite a while till we ever covered any of those Midwest stuff. But we might jump into like, you know, North Dakota, South Dakota. We are doing Kansas here coming up, so we are going to do some whitetail stuff in Kansas, and we do whitetail stuff in the other states. But you know, Kansas is that big whitetail area. But
yeah, and it's and that's one of the things with me, because you know we have a lease in Kansas. That's one of the few places that I don't hunt public land. I mean, I hunt public land a lot. Kansas is one of the few places I don't hunt public land. There's public land right there close to me, But we had an opportunity to get this lease several years ago at a super cheap price, and I just couldn't really pass it up. I love to hunt Kansas so much. There was no way we could pass it up. And I know I have a ton of people talk to me about the draw in Kansas, and it is kind of tricky in our area because in our zone, which is zone 11, it's mostly farmland. It has the highest density of whitetail in the state, and it has the most. It actually, the most tags are in our unit. So it's one of the hardest units to draw. So there's been years that I haven't drawn and had to jump into the leftover tags. And what's really weird about it was the first year I hunted there, you could, when the leftover tags came out, you could wait up to 2 weeks and get online and get that tag. Yeah. Now you've got to be sitting there with your info put in at 11:59. You better have all your info in, and you better be ready to hit enter at midnight, straight up and down on your computer. And you hit enter, and then you're just praying.
Yeah, that's always stressful. Oof.
That's intense.
I think 2 years ago, I was in the leftover tags, and I hit enter at midnight. My tag was processing. I hit it at midnight. It started processing my tag. It said, "Congratulations, you have purchased your Kansas leftover tag." Then a little screen came up in the corner of my deal and said, "All leftover tags are now sold out in the state of Kansas." There were 1,900 leftover tags.
Oh, brutal.
At 12:05, all the tags were gone. And used to, we could wait up to 2 weeks and get online and get a tag for any unit you wanted to. And now but I think a lot of that's because we've got so many out-of-state outfitters that are leasing up property, and because of the TV and the films and all the stuff that we've all done, has brought people to want to just come into Kansas. So the outfitters are really taking super heavy advantage of it. And it's not the in-state outfitters. They're still the same ones that have always been there. But the same thing's happening there now that happened in Illinois a few years ago. Illinois used to be the place to go. You had to go to Pike County. You had to go to Illinois to hunt giant whitetails. And so long as it was just the in-state outfitters that were taking care of the business out there, it was good. But as soon as the out-of-state guys got in there, they were just selling as many hunts as they could sell. And that's what's happening in Kansas now. A lot of these guys that are out of state are selling as many hunts as they can sell, as fast as they can sell them on whatever size properties they can put them on. And what's going to happen is once they shoot those properties out, they're just going to be gone. And then, Kansas is not going to be that state anymore. And that's why we've been so adamant about hanging on to our property there. But back to the public land thing, how closely have you guys really been watching all the public land stuff that's going on now? I mean, I've been involved in it pretty deeply with Keep It Public and EHJ and different stuff. How does all this affect you guys and what you do? I know it's got to have an effect on business, your direction and the way you guys are operating.
I mean, yeah, because out west, it's all about public land. So you lose those small, even though people are like, oh, it's just a small tract of public land you're losing. But it's like, no, sometimes that's access into more, or now limiting you to the public land that's behind there. So all those public land swaps, and it's never a good idea to get rid of any public land, whether it's federal, state land, or it's just then it just gets managed the wrong way, and then it just limits people for the access, which is the biggest thing. There's already so much limited access in Montana, for example, which when I was hunting there, which I'm sure you're familiar with, all the block management program they had in Montana, where it's basically the private landowners give you access to their land to hunt on, and it's a really good program. But then also when you be able to do that, you can access the private or the public land that's behind there. Like I was saying earlier, that's always the biggest thing ever. Get rid of the checkerboard thing. The checkerboard thing is so terrible in the West. It's you get more of that, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, and all those good areas are going to be bought up, by the highest bidder, and it's just going to be a bidding war for these top properties, and they're going to go to, limit all us from wanting to go hunt there. It's just what it all comes down to is just need more public access everywhere in the West. That's where all our game animals are. Everyone, what is it, 70, I don't know I can't remember the percentage is. There's so many people hunt public land every year. Even if there's bigger animals on private, you're still going to go to public because that's where you can get tags. You can hunt there.
I think it's 79% in the West hunt
Yeah, I was
public
gonna
land.
say 73, 74, and
Yeah,
there's like,
I think it's 79% was the deal I saw now. Uh, Basically, Jason Shavitz in Utah is kind of one of the guys that's leading this charge. And I'm not going to pick on him because I don't want to pick on him, but I don't care if I pick on him really, but I'm not going to. One of the things I saw he posted the other day on someone's Instagram page that I'm not going to mention either was that his ideal was, and you guys may have saw this on that Instagram page. Oh yeah, we're going to sell off some of these junk disposable public lands because we want to buy up some better land. Now, do you think that is really going to happen? I mean, does anyone out there think that's actually going to happen once that land's gone? Do you think they're actually going to spend the money to go buy this other spot over here and make it federal? I mean, that doesn't even sound logical to me, period.
no. And what's junk to some person is a treasure for another person. It's like people think, oh, those prairie lands are worthless. Like, no, that's actually where all the antelope are. That's where all the, sage grouse and whatever. It's like all those lands need to be protected for certain reasons, whether it's not hunting, but it's just like other things too, like all the recreational side of it, all like, it's just a whole bad deal. That's why we can't have it in the West. Can't have it anywhere, really.
No, anywhere. And not to mention what you just said a while ago, access. So much of those spots that they consider disposable are actually access points to other spots, whether it's block management. It could be an access point to a block management area. It could be access point to another a really good piece of public land that's federal that you can hunt. I don't know. I think right now, as far as hunters go, I think this is our number one battle, and I hate to say that we even have a battle. I hate that we have to have a battle over it, but I actually watched the other night after and I don't watch politics. I'm not a political person, but I have gotten into it over the public land stuff. But I did turn over to CNN and Fox the other night after the president had his State of the Union deal, and I just wanted to hear what some of the strategists were saying. One of the strategists specifically said that one of their priorities is to become the leader to where we're self-sustained in oil, we're self-sustained in gas, we're self-sustained in coal. And where do you think they're going after to get all that?
Our lands.
I mean, they've already gotten it from everywhere they could get it for that they could pay for it. So where do you think they're going to go for it? Go after those resources now? I mean, there's only one other place left for them to go after them, and I think they're looking at those federal public lands and those block management areas and all these places that they can go in or what they deem disposable areas that they can go in and purchase up and start basically raping. And I say rape, they're going to go in and rape the resources, because anybody that's ever seen in the South a timber company come in and completely. Now, I was corrected one time because out in the West, I know that clear cuts in some areas are necessary, and they're actually the environment. Here, when people clear cut, they just leave a nasty, gnarly mess, and it's gone. It's just our clear cuts in the South and in the Midwest just end up looking like a giant junk hole that's, they're actually really cool giant bedding areas, but you can't hunt them anymore because they're so thick and grown up that you can't even get it. So, I'm pretty, the public lands thing really kind of scares me. So.
Yeah, got to keep it public.
Yeah, you got to keep it public.
And on that note, we are running short on time, so make sure you keep it public. Head on over to GoHunt.com if you want to check your odds on all the draws and find out the best areas to hunt. Also, like Tim said, keep it public. Go support some of these organizations like Keep It Public or Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. For the Natural Born Hunter podcast, wake up, chase your dreams, repeat.